The National Association of Realtors is not going to be the same, I would say, in a couple of years. It's just changing up. Look what's happening. There's a new lawsuit that just popped up just a couple of days ago. I'm going to share it with you here. We're just going to get right into the lawsuit portion of this because I'm putting this in the description. Here it is. At this point, it's 32 pages, more like really like 20 something. But I took some time to read this and I tried to narrow it down to just one simple paragraph. And here's what I came up with. I actually wrote it down. So uh, this way I didn't screw it up. I'm like, okay, I think I've got this down. Here's what it is. And then we'll go into the piece that you need to be paying attention to because this is important for you as a real estate agent. As things change, you need to know what's happening so you can change along with it so we can continue to do business. All right, based on the complaint, the main reason for this lawsuit is that the defendants, there's a few real estate agents out there that brought this on, various realtor associations and ROAM, MLS, are alleged to engage in anti-competitive practices. Now that's the key, the anti-competitiveness, by requiring mandatory membership in three realtor organizations. NAR, the big one, right, nationally. LRA, that's the state one, Louisiana, and the local realtor board as a condition for accessing the multiple listing service. That's the MLS. Now, the plaintiff argues this constitutes unlawful tying arrangements that violates the federal and state antitrust laws, limits competition, harms the consumer, and disproportionately affects real estate professionals who need MLS access to effectively compete in the market but do not wish to be forced into association membership. In essence, you know that whole three-way agreement that we talked about last week that Phoenix brought up and then they went back and forth with NAR and that whole thing hasn't finished. It's just getting started. In essence, it's that. And we take a look at two articles here that I want to bring up, which by the way will be in the description, so just grab them there. This is by Real Estate News. This is going to reiterate kind of what I talked about. The plaintiffs allege that the groups have engaged in anti-competitive practice that include forcing agents to pay for three memberships in order to access the multiple listing service. That's it. I mean, look, if it's going to come down to that, I know there's a lot more to this, but the simple solution, at least for me as a real estate agent, I always thought coming in and trying to afford all of these different fees, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay for the MLS, and then I have to join the state board, and I have to join NAR, and then I have access to all these documents, and I have access to a lot more that I don't use, and a lot of people don't. What if I just want access to the MLS and documents, like state documents? What if I just want to join those and not join NAR? Right now, the way that it looks for a lot of places, not everywhere, but for a lot of places, is you join one, they make you join all of them, and that's the challenge, right? It's saying, hey, wait a second, something's going on here, and so we're going to start seeing this change dramatically. So it says such restrictions on data usage create significant barriers to conducting business. Why? Because everything's getting more expensive, especially for us real estate agents out there. They say in the complaint, without access to the market area MLS, agents cannot effectively analyze and disseminate this essential information to buyers and sellers. And that's the truth. I mean, this whole time, all this information has been sold to Zillow, Realtor.com, and all these other companies, and they can definitely disseminate it and show it to everyone, which is not the problem. The problem is that our local boards and our state boards and NAR somehow don't seem to be working together. Like at this point, don't you think we should have a national MLS? It's like, how hard is this? And there are a lot of factors here where one just can't seem to get along over here, and because it's a business, you need to make money to survive over here. You need to make money. Listen, Zillow's done it. At this point, we're just looking at this and saying, hey, when is this all going to end so that we can just get back down to work? And the other article, which does a pretty good job, but we'll go into it a little bit more, by Inman, Louisiana agents latest to file suit over divisive NAR three-way agreement. So it comes down to the three-way agreement. We already went through the accusations. Here's in the green, all right? The plaintiff ultimately The plaintiffs ultimately claim the defendant broke the Fair Housing Act. Wow, the Fair Housing Act, the Federal Trade Commission Act, the Sherman Antitrust Act, and other laws. Yeah, well, they indicate those in the document. By the way, I will put that full document that I showed you earlier in the description, so go ahead and grab it there. This article is not long. The document's also here inside of this article from Inman. So they do a good job with that as well. Listen, at the end of the day, I want you to keep track of this stuff, not because it's crazy news and you oh my gosh, it's nuts. Can you believe what's happening? It's not because of that. I want you to pay attention to what's happening because it affects us in our business. Like if all of a sudden we don't need to join all three boards, we need to anticipate how it's going to work and how we're going to shift so that we can continue to do our business. Because as all this is happening, I don't know that any of this is in the national news. Like you won't see this at CNN or the New York Times or anywhere else. It just affects us internally. But in essence, what happens is because it challenges the way that we've been doing business for so long with all of these agreements, or all three agreements. Things are going to be very different as to how they work. And NAR is going to lose, I think, NAR is going to lose a lot more power. And that means that they may not be able to fight for us the same in Capitol Hill, whatever that looked like. So just pay attention to all of this as funds shift from one area to another. I need you to understand what's happening so you can shift along with it. Anyway, please subscribe, share this with anybody, and let me know what you think, what I'm missing, or where you think this is all going to. But I'll keep you updated, everyone. Have an awesome day.